session, we're going to explore how similar themes are treated in stories. We will learn what a theme is, how to identify figurative language, and we're going to compare different stories. In this part of the lesson, we're going to explore what a theme is, how the authors use the different types of figurative language to express ideas, and how different stories can have similar themes. Let's focus on what theme is. Theme is the main lesson or big idea that a story teaches you. It's what the author wants you to learn about, especially learn about in life, like being kind, being brave, being smart. For example, the theme of a story where a small rabbit helps a big bear might be the importance of helping others. In a myth, the theme might be bravery in the face of danger. Or in another traditional story, it might be something like the importance of friendship. Something to remember, theme is not usually directly stated. It's not the main idea, it's the main lesson. And it's always going to be specific to that story. Some common themes we'll come across are friendship, courage, family, kindness, hope, determination, and acceptance. Similes and metaphors. Similes and metaphors are used to compare two different things. A simile is like a comparison game using the words like or as. For example, saying the moon is like a silver coin is a simile. A metaphor, however, is when you say one thing is another thing to show how they are similar. It's like saying the moon is a silver coin. So they're both making the same comparison, but the way they're doing it is different. Similes use like or as. Metaphors do not. Let's test your understanding. Question number 1. Which of the following sentences is an example of a simile? A. The wind was a howling wolf last night. B. My alarm clock is a cheerful morning singer. C. The dancer floated across the stage like a feather. D. I ate the pizza for dinner. Question number 2. The sentence, the library was a silent tomb, is an example of a metaphor because it A. Uses the word like to compare the library to a tomb. B. Directly states that the library is a tomb. C. Is a short, well-known piece of advice. D. Gives an object human characteristics. Now we're going to look at idioms and proverbs. These two words might be new to you and they might be review, and either way, let's go over them together. An idiom is a silly-sounding phrase like, it's raining cats and dogs, which really just means it's raining a lot. A proverb is a short, wise saying that gives advice, such as look before you leap, which means you should think carefully before doing something. Now let's look at our questions. I'm going to read them to you, and then I want you to tell me what you think the answer is. What does the idiom a piece of cake really mean? A. A tasty dessert that you eat after dinner. B. A very big and hard problem to solve. C. Something very easy to do. D. something you need to bake in the oven. Question number 2. What wise advice does the proverb, slow and steady wins the race, teach us about life? A, that working carefully and consistently is better than rushing. B, you should always run as fast as you can in every race. C, it is important to start your day with a long walk. Or D, you must only do one thing at a time. Now, we're going to read 2 short stories. As I read them to you, I want you to look for similes and idioms within these 2 stories. And they're both going to share a common theme. Let's see if you guys can find it. Story number 1, The Broken Bike. Leo and Ben wanted to ride their bikes to the big park, but halfway there, Leo's chain broke. His face looked as sad as a rainy day. He worried they would have to call it a day and go home, but Ben smiled. Ben knew a little about fixing things. He did not have all the right tools, but he worked hard using a small rock and a twig to push the chain back into place. It was not a perfect fix, but it was enough. Together, they slowly rode the rest of the way to the park, happy that their friendship had helped them solve the problem. Story number 2, The Lost Backpack. Maya and Sam were hiking a new trail to see a hidden waterfall. When they stopped for a snack, Sam realized that his backpack was gone. It had their map, water, and lunch. Sam felt a chill, thinking they would be up a creek without a paddle. Maya quickly said, "Don't worry, we are a team." She was as helpful as a bright flashlight. They walked back slowly, looking carefully. Maya spotted the blue backpack hanging on a low branch near a big rock. They hugged, knowing that working together made the hard moment much easier, and they found the waterfall just in time for sunset. Let's read our next story. The Knight versus the Worm. Sir Kale was the bravest knight in the land. One day, a giant, scary shadow worm crawled out of the mountains and blocked the path to the small village. All the villagers were afraid and asked Sir Kale for help. The monster's skin was as tough as old leather, and its roar made the ground shake. Sir Kale knew the fight would be hard, but he decided to take the bull by the horns and face the beast right away. He held his glowing sword tight, and with one quick, brave move, Sir Kale found the monster's weakness and saved the village, showing everyone what true courage meant. Now, that story was very short, but it told us a couple of different things that we'll be using to answer 2 questions. Question 1, what action does the character take to show courage? So what does Sir Kale do in this story that shows courage? Question 2, what figurative language is used to describe their actions? So remember, that's a simile or a metaphor or an idiom. Examples are things like heart of a lion, or fleet as the wind. So what kind of language is used here to describe Sir Kale? So let's try some writing practice. We're going to practice writing a small paragraph that's about our two stories we read earlier. Let's focus on our broken bike and the lost backpack. So first, you're going to start by writing an introduction. You're going to briefly introduce both stories and state that you will compare their treatment of a similar theme. For example, you might say something like, I will be comparing the themes in blank and blank. The theme I will write about is blank. Next, the body. In 1 or 2 sentences, describe how each text uses figurative language to enhance the theme. Use direct quotes when possible and explain what the quote means. For example, the story known as blank used the simile blank to show blank, or the story blank used the metaphor blank to show blank. Lastly, the story blank used the idiom blank to show blank. And at the end, our conclusion. Summarize the key similarities and differences between the two texts or stories. For example, both stories were about blank. The stories were different in how they blank. Now, you do not have to use those fill-in-the-blank sentences exactly. You can, of course, write and create your own. Those are just an example format for how you can do it. So go ahead and practice writing one paragraph. Good luck! I know you can do it.